What's going on, people? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Yash Talks Football. And do a little weekend review because quite a lot has gone down and quite a lot of it I feel it needs to be discussed because that could be a lot of what I'm going to say might be defining for their season. So, for you new around here, like, sub, and share the content around this type of video. I'm going to try and make it a regular thing, and especially this weekend where we've seen some crazy results. Definitely got to get into it, and if anything major happens next week, we'll do the same. If any, week after, we'll do the same until the season's ending because we are in the running, and there is quite a lot of important football to be played. Maybe not so up when it comes to the title, but top four race and even the bottom as well. So yeah, like I said, subscribe, like, share, do whatever you got to do. Now I'm gonna start off with Tottenham Hotspur. Wolves 4, Tottenham 2. That is Tottenham's 17th loss this season, and that is their 49th goal conceded. They've got the Europa League midweek, which, in my opinion, they're going to go out of, but losing 4-0 to a team, which then that puts them 2 points behind them now. So Tottenham, if they were to lose next weekend, and if Wolves were to win their game, so Tottenham have got Nottingham Forest on next Monday, so they could lose that. While Wolves, they have Leicester, which, in my opinion, Wolves can definitely win that game, even though Leicester picked up a draw. I think it was a draw that they picked up against Brighton. They drew, yeah, they drew 2-2, and that was their first set of goals they scored in a while. So, yeah, Ange Postecoglou, is he under pressure? Definitely is, because from the first, like, sort of maybe like 10 games that they had at the start of last season, and now they've gone to, I think he's won about less than half his games, and the fact that he's lost 17 games this season, could be out of Europe come Thursday. Surely it has to be the end of that, Ange. And people can say, yeah, he's not spent money. He has spent money. He's bought Brennan Johnson. He's bought Van der Ven. He's bought Tell on loan. Bought Solanke for 60 mil. He also bought James Maddison as well, and he also bought Vicario. Bought their second choice goalkeeper. Tottenham's recruitment has been terrible, and it's been terrible for a while, but the excuses that I'm seeing when it comes to saying it's not Andy's fault, isn't it, and it's Levy's fault, which, yeah, it is Levy's fault, because in my opinion, a club that's run badly, like Tottenham, it starts all the way from the owner and it all trickles down. And yeah, Levy is to blame. They've done a few protests, but they've also bought Vinay from Arsenal, our ex-CEO, and now he's coming into Tottenham, which is not threatening at all, because Vinay, as we know, as many of you Arsenal fans will know, was not good at all. And now that he's coming to Tottenham, they're also showing again how unserious they are. But yeah, let me know in the comments below, should Ange be sacked if they go out to Eintracht Frankfurt on Thursday, which I think they will. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. Now, Manchester United. Actually, no, we'll leave Manchester United. We'll go to Chelsea. Chelsea 2, Ipswich 2. Ipswich actually went 2-0 up. They were 2-0 up at half time. I think, if I'm right, in the reverse fixture, Ipswich actually beat Chelsea. So that's 4 points that Kieran McKenna has taken off Maresca. Now, Chelsea have been in a top four race. Well, I say that. At the start of the season, they were in a title race. I'm pretty sure most of us can agree that they were there or thereabouts when it comes to fighting for the title. And I'm pretty sure if they had beaten Everton, and this was before Liverpool played their game, if they had beaten Everton, or I think it was Everton or Bournemouth, I can't quite remember, they would have got top of the league at one point. And a lot of their fans were saying, nope, it's Maresca's first season. He can't be, put that much pressure on that team. The players can't have that much pressure. However, we've seen Arne Slot walk in. It's his first time in the Premier League. All he's bought is Chiesa, and he hardly plays, so he's pretty much spent no money at all. And he's pretty much walked the league with Liverpool. And I was hearing Chelsea fans saying that, yeah, not much pressure should be put on Maresca and the players, even though the amount of money they spent. I'm not even sure how much money they spent altogether, but it's well over £1 billion. We know that because we know when Gary Neville called them the £1 billion bottle jobs um, last season. And I'll be honest, there were some good signs at the start of the season. However, since around Christmas time, it's just gone like that, like that, like that. And then Chelsea, they're they're out now at threat from finishing in this top four or top five because yeah, they're 1 point behind Man City and they're also level on points with Aston Villa. However, you look at their fixtures coming up, they got Fulham away, then they got Everton. They're at home to Liverpool, who could wrap. I think they could wrap up. They would have wrapped up the league by then. Away at Newcastle, playing Manchester United, and then before they go to the Club World Cup, they play Nottingham Forest away in the last game of the season. Chelsea could definitely be in trouble and missing out on Champions League, and I think if they win that Conference League, they'll get into Europa League automatically, which I think they will win that Conference League. I'll be honest. But for the expectations at the start of the season, compared to what you're getting now, Maresca should be under pressure, and rightly so, because you can't have all that sort of. You can't have that start of the season that you had, near enough in the title race, and then just since Christmas pretty much a massive capitulation from them, and the fact that they even drew to Ipswich yesterday, and yeah, they fought from 2-0 down. However, you shouldn't be 2-0 down to Ipswich. So, yeah, Chelsea fans especially, let me know if you think Maresca should be under pressure, and even the sporting directors as well, because since that ownership had come in, they spent a lot of money, to be fair, but they've also been very questionable when it comes to their recruitment. And I've seen personally a lot more bad than good when it comes to Chelsea's spending. And then we get on to Manchester United. Newcastle 4, Manchester United 1. Man United now sitting in 14th on a -7 goal difference. That's their 14th loss. They're just above Tottenham by 1 point. In my opinion, I've sort of thought about this, but what has Amorim done since he's gone to Manchester United? All that I see is that they have a solid structure. I say solid structure. They have a structure with their new back three system. But if I'm being real, for what he was brought in for, which is I think because at that point they weren't too far off top four at the time, and top five now. He's only won about 30% of his games from what I saw on Twitter. And their season pretty much now is hanging by a thread, because if they go out to Lyon, which is looking more and more likely after that game, because Xerxes came off injured, which means they've got to play Rasmus Højlund up front. And Xerxes, to be fair to him, has bailed him out a couple of times because he's actually a good footballer. One thing that I don't get is when it comes to Amorim's team selection, he doesn't pick good footballers. He picks a front three a lot of the time of Højlund, Garnacho and Bruno, who are both shit, when in my opinion their best front three is probably Xerxes, which is gone now, Kobbie Mainoo is probably coming back, because I think he did come off the bench against Lyon and against Newcastle, and also Ahmad when he's fit, which I don't think he'll be back to before the end of the season. So yeah, we know Manchester United are good at scamming trophies, let's just put it that way, and Lyon aren't even that good, but to qualify for the semi-finals of the Europa League, I'm not quite sure they'll do that now. I think when Xerxes was fit, they had that option of him coming off the bench, which, gave them a chance, but now they don't, and they got quite a few of their good players gone. It's up in the air now, and I think, in my opinion, they don't qualify for the semi-finals. And yeah, Lyon aren't that great, but they did make hard work of that game out in the away leg. And yeah, they were at Old Trafford and anything can happen, but yeah. And after that, Amorim's future, a lot of people were saying that, from what I've seen online, they should give him the transfer window. However, from what I've seen since he's come in to now, I've not seen much at all apart from him playing more defensive than Ten Hag, because Ten Hag's football was back and forth like a basketball game. These lot, yeah, they're kind of defensively more solid, but I've seen nothing going the other way. And yeah, they haven't got the best quality. However, their quality is not 14th place in the Premier League. I'll tell you that. And last in the game against Newcastle, they started all right, but just petered out towards the end of Newcastle's superiority when it comes to coaching. I think took over and just absolutely battered them in the end, 4-1. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section below about all the topics that I discussed. I'm gonna try and make this a more common show. Now that I've got the camera set up with my laptop, I can actually look at multitask at the same time. So yeah, like, some, share the content around, and I'll see you lot in a bit.